Imagine waking up one morning to a silent headline. No bank failures, no emergency press conferences, no central authority promising stability. Instead, a simple truth settles in. Financial security no longer depends on a government guarantee, or a bank vault, or a national currency. It lives somewhere else now, scattered across millions of machines. Verified by strangers, secured by mathematics. This is not a collapse, it is a migration. A world where financial security relies entirely on decentralized networks. And once that shift is complete, the meaning of trust itself begins to change. In this future, money still exists. So do savings, loans, investments, and insurance. But the institutions that once stood at the center are no longer the guardians. There is no single bank that can freeze accounts. There's no central authority that can print stability into existence. No government backstop that promises rescue. Instead, financial security is enforced by decentralized networks. Distributed ledgers record ownership. Smart contracts enforce rules. Consensus algorithms replace centralized oversight. Your wealth is not protected by trust in institutions. It is protected by code, by redundancy, by global participation. Security does not flow downward from power. It emerges upward from the network itself. The heart of this transformation is a radical idea. Security without a center. Under decentralized networks, no single point of failure exists. Data is copied, verified, and synchronized across thousands or millions of independent nodes. To compromise the system, an attacker would need to overwhelm the majority of the network simultaneously. Not one vault. It's not one server. Not one authority. Mathematics replaces discretion. Algorithms replace judgment calls. Rules are transparent. Enforcement is automatic. Records are immutable. Once a transaction is confirmed, it cannot be quietly reversed. Once ownership is recorded, it cannot be erased by decree. Financial security becomes a property of structure, not power. For most of modern history, financial security has been centralized. Gold was stored in vaults, currency issued by states, deposits protected by governments. This system brought efficiency, but also fragility. When trust collapsed, so did economies. Bank runs, currency devaluations, sovereign defaults. Each crisis revealed the same truth. Security was only as strong as the institutions providing it. Decentralization emerged as a response to these failures, not as an ideology but as an architecture. Just as the internet survived because it had no central point of control, decentralized finance follows the same logic. Resilience through distribution. The transition starts quietly. People lose confidence in centralized guarantees. Inflation erodes savings. Geopolitical shocks expose vulnerability. Alternative systems gain traction. At first, decentralized networks coexist with traditional finance. They are small, experimental, volatile. Then a crisis hits. Regional banking failure, a frozen payment system, capital control event. Decentralized networks do not stop. They do not close. They do not ask permission. Transactions continue. That moment changes perception. Gradually, savings migrate. Insurance protocols replace insurers. Peer-to-peer lending outcompetes traditional loans. Financial security becomes portable, not tied to nationality, not dependent on borders, not limited by politics. Security in this world is not negotiated. It is programmed. Smart contracts define conditions in advance. Payments execute automatically. Claims settle without intermediaries. There is no discretion, no favoritism, no delay. If conditions are met, the outcome is guaranteed. This removes a layer of human error but introduces a new responsibility. Code must be flawless. Bugs become vulnerabilities. Design choices become law. In this system, trust shifts from people to protocols. For individuals, financial security feels different. There is no customer service number, no branch office, no manager to appeal to. Control comes with responsibility. Private keys replace signatures. Self-custody replaces deposits. Losing access means losing wealth permanently. But protection is absolute. No seizure, no confiscation, no silent erosion. Security becomes personal. empowering and unforgiving. Governments lose some control. Monetary policy weakens. Capital becomes harder to contain. Taxation evolves. Regulation adapts or becomes irrelevant. Some states resist. Others integrate decentralized systems into public finance. Power shifts, not away from governments entirely, but away from centralized monopolies over trust. Global finance becomes less hierarchical, more networked, more fragmented, and more resilient. This future is not utopian. Decentralized security favors the informed. Those without technical knowledge are vulnerable. Wealth inequality can widen. Early adopters gain disproportionate advantage. Criminal use persists. Fraud evolves. Scams become more sophisticated. There is no authority to reverse mistakes. Freedom has a cost, and mistakes are permanent. When financial security becomes decentralized, society crosses a threshold. Trust is no longer granted. It is engineered. Stability is no longer promised. It is constructed. The system does not care who you are. It only cares whether rules are followed. This is not the end of institutions. It is the end of unquestioned reliance on them. Security becomes a shared responsibility, distributed, transparent, and unforgiving. A world secured by decentralized networks is harder to control, harder to manipulate, it's harder to rescue, but also harder to break. And that raises a final question. If financial security no longer comes from authority, are we ready to live in a world where trust has no face-only code? And what happens when the networks themselves become the most powerful institutions humanity has ever built? That is the next what if.